Hello guys, good evening and welcome to the Little Farmer's Farm with me, Guru Mafinda, aka Tony. And on today's episode, we're going to be clearing out Tiki Tunnel 1 and the Tiki Tunnel 2. And also, we're going to be planting up our brassicas. So stay tuned for that. Can't wait. See you in a bit. Yeah, so we're going to be planting up these brassicas, which are... I'm not actually sure whether pak choy is a brassica, like a small Chinese cabbage type of fur, but I think it is, yeah, because it's a cruciferous vegetable, definitely. You get, when it does go to flower, you get little stems that are like small broccoli with the yellow flower at the top of it. But these ones are pak choy, joy choy, and then we've got at the back there, we've got cauliflower. Now there's two trays there, two 12-cell trays of all the year round cauliflower, which is a good reliable staple, really, traditional cauliflower. And then we've got the marathon, two sets of marathon, which is the broccoli or calabrese, not technically broccoli. It's what we think of as broccoli, because we buy that in the supermarkets as broccoli, the big fat-headed green broccoli, but it's actually calabrese. But then there's a purple sprouting broccoli, which is the sort of tender stem, long stem stuff. So they're going in today, fingers crossed, we get the time, obviously. And then there's a lot of clearing to be done. This is Tiki Tunnel number 2, the trampoline framed Tiki Tunnel, made from trampoline frames. 2 8-foot trampoline frames were used to create this. And this is where we grow our tomatoes, and we tend to... I'm going to try peppers again this year, but I've never had any luck with peppers. You know, the bell peppers and the corno de toro and all that sort of stuff. I'm going to try them again this year. But we've got the tomatoes and we've got the cucumbers that are going here. This is where I usually grow my cucumbers. Get 8 plants in there, 8 cucumber plants along that trellis. And you tend to get about 20 cucumbers off each plant, you know, so that's 80 cucumbers. It's not, it's 106, it's more, isn't it? 20 from each plant. 160? No? Something like that. Bit less, 130 cucumbers. So 20 off each is what? 10 off each will be 8. It'll be 80, won't it? Yeah, it's 160. 160 cucumbers. I got there in the end, boys and girls, didn't I? There, 160 cucumbers will be taken from this area. You know what I mean? And they're usually quite a size, aren't they? That I grow. If you've ever watched the back episodes, the longest one I've had is 23 inches long, nearly 2 feet. And the tomatoes here in the top greenhouse as well that I cleared out the other day and prepared. I'll just take you around to that. This is why I'm doing it, because it's an absolute midden again. Let's get in here. Excuse my absolute unprofessionalism. I'm going to have to re-net this. But in here, with the beds that I redid, and so what we're going to do in here is we're going to have probably 5 or 6 tomato plants either side. Actually, probably 4 tomato plants either side in this area each. So they'll have 8 tomato plants in here as well. I'm going to try and grow the bigger sort of tomatoes in here potentially. Although we don't particularly like them. My kids like the cherry tomatoes. Sun Gold and Super Sweet 100 are the varieties that my kids tend to favour, and I like them as well. But we'll see how we go, because I've not actually got any yet to plant up. That's going to be in the next 5 or 6 weeks that we're going to start planting them up. But in the next couple of weeks we're going to be getting them. I'm going to get them as starts. Not because I'm lazy, but because they're a lot more reliable. And I don't like buying, but when you buy the tomato seeds, they can be quite expensive, and it's been a bit hit and miss with them really. I've tried them last year, and I think I started off as seeds about 24, and about 4 of them came through properly. So I can't be bothered. I'm just going to get them as starts because they're not expensive. We get them from Paul Green Nurseries, and I probably end up paying about £1.20 per plant, and then I'll need about what, 16 plants, if that, not even that, 12 plants, say. Yeah, about 12 plants. So that's not, it's not going to break the bank like for less than 20 quid, and we get a profusion. We get loads of them. We get loads of tomatoes off them. So that's what I'm going to do, I think, this time. The cucumbers, we're going to start off from seed. But in fact, I'll do that next week. The cucumbers will be started off from seed, but the tomatoes, no, I'm just going to get them. I'm just going to buy them. What a cheat. Might as well. There's nothing wrong with it. Get them started. Right, so first things first, I'm going to clear all the crap out from here, all the plastics, get all them out of the way, because I'm going to be cleaning all of those watering bottles and pots. I'll do the same with these watering cans. I'll just get everything out of the way, and then get in the rake and clear all the soil out of it, and then top up the soil, crumble some more fresh soil on the top and mix it in, and I'll put some bloodfish and bone in with it and some extra bone meal, and that should do us. Now with this cane trellis that I made a couple of years ago, the tenting on the outside seems to have sagged a little bit, and it's now catching on the top of these canes. So what I need to do is bring that cane trellis forward a little bit like that, so that it's away from the tent. And also what I might do is put some protection on the top of these canes so they're not as sharp. Luckily, I've got just the implements. So I've got that tape there that I'm going to wrap the top of the canes with, but I'll also need some wadded cardboard, which I'm sure that I have got. Some wadded cardboard to just bring it forward away from the frames, you know, so it brings it out about 2 inches. I'll suss it out. Yeah, so I've just used some rolled up cardboard, which was the packaging really for the onions that we planted a couple of weeks ago. I never throw things away straight away, because I thought, you think to yourself, might come in useful. That can be counterproductive sometimes, because you end up like with a load of shizzle knocking around. But here, in this instance, it's coming useful. So I've just zip tied them onto the canes, and it raises it, brings it forward, makes it proud, brings it proud of the sheeting that's behind it, and stops these canes rubbing against it. Now you can get your fingers behind, you know. On the areas where it does sag in and it does potentially rub, then I put the duct tape around. Not a lot though, about 4 or 5 inches of duct tape around, and that just stops the sharp edges then from turning in to me poly, like they have been doing, as you can see there. It's not actually gone through, but it'll wear through, it'll tear through eventually, that. But with those covers on, and the fact that it's moved away, then when these move around, it won't rub against it, and it won't tear through. It's just simple, isn't it? Dead simple. No rocket science here, boys and girls, but it works, and that's the main thing. So that's brought that trellis then away from the tented area. It's not made it so as it's too much of an acute angle, so that the plants won't be encouraged to climb up. But when the cucumber plants do start to grow, they send out little tendrils, and the tendrils like this one, that's a tendril, that's a cucumber tendril. They'll wrap themselves round, and it will climb up there. It'll start to climb up. I've replaced a couple of the zip ties as well on the framing, just when they've been, you know, looking like they're going to break or what have you. These are the ties, the plant ties, that you actually tie and assist the plant to grow and climb. You tie these around the stems and the growing points of the plant so that you can train it along the trellises. So in there, you're probably going to get about 8 plants. Probably one per cane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I think that's what we did last year. We had 8 cucumber plants. And they'll trail out to the front. They'll trail up as well. I like to trail them up because they don't, when they're sat on the ground, the bugs can get at them. You know, potentially the slugs can get at them. If they're sat in the soil, you'll get a really pale side of the cucumber and then a dark side. So you won't get that uniform greenness that you want. And also, if it is sat in the soil, it tends to start to rot quicker. So we don't want that. Although they are a trailing and climbing plant, the cucumber. So they can do what they want. But that's the idea anyway. So I'm just going to clear all of the detritus out from here, all the old leaves, because these old leaves will have, what do you call it, dusty stuff on them anyway. That'll want clearing out of the way. And then we'll start to amend the soil and put fresh compost in. And our soil amendments. But these tapes are used, same for the tomatoes. These tapes, I always retain them because waste not, want not, environmentally friendly and all of that sort of stuff. If you can retain them, which is what we do, and use them for next time. So these were used, as I say, for assisting the plants to grip the canes and grow up the canes, and they can be used for that again this next year. Okie dokie, I'll crack on. Right, so I've cleared away the top couple of inches where all the detritus was, the dried out dead soil, if you like. There'll be old tomato seeds in there, there'll be perhaps potentially fungal issues. So I've cleared away the majority of that, so it's not resting on the surface. I've just got shut and I've got it into these 2 big 30, or are they 50? I think they might be 50 litre, something like that. I don't know. Them big tubs. And I've more or less filled 2 of those. So once all that's cleared off now, all I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be working my hands through and roughening up all the soil, sort of tilting the soil for about 1 foot around where the planting stations are going to be. And once I've done that, well, as I'm doing that, I'm going to be adding in the blood, fish and bone with a strong additive of extra bone. So it'll be like blood, fish and bone. Plenty of bone for the extra calcium, which will assist the fruits to set, and the skins. We want nice, flexible but firm skins on our fruits, so we don't get blossom end rot and stuff like that. And then we just have to keep an eye on the water and what have you, so you don't get cat facing. There's different things that can affect it. But the blood, fish and bone is a good all-rounder for most plants anyway. But for fruiting plants, there's nothing wrong with it, because you do need a certain amount of nitrogen for the leaf growth and health. But you do need the potassium for the fruits, the potash and what have you. And we'll be getting that. But the calcium's good, because the calcium is good for the fruits, because you don't get the issues with splitting and stuff, generally speaking, as you would if you didn't use calcium. So right, there we go. I'm just going to crack on. I was going to give Mick a lift next door. I'll show you his shed. Now Mick's got solar power in the same way that I've got solar power, but at the moment his inverter isn't working, so it's not actually capable of charging up his battery tools. So I've been charging up his batteries in mine. Ryobi are a decent make, but the batteries are rubbish. I nearly swore. I keep almost swearing, but I can't do that because it's a PG show. Or it's a U show, this. Universal show. So I'll just show you what Mick's been up to. Coming on a treat, that, isn't it? It's got a little veranda overhang. I'll speak to him in a minute. There he is, Mick up on top. And this shed extension's really coming on. You alright there? I'll come round in a minute. You on tank there, yeah. So he's just putting the first fix, really, just to keep it on for tonight, of some of those, you know, those like flanged screws, roofing screws, with the rubber caps on.
Flange, like that word.
Flange? Sticking up your flange, that, Mick. So there's the original shed, which is a 6x4, and as you saw the other day, he lifted the roof up on that side a little bit so we could slide these this extension underneath. Built the extension on it. That's actually the side of the original shed that he took off, brought it up this way, extended it 7 foot 4, 7 foot 5 or something like that. It's come out that way. And then these are about 10 feet. It actually sticks over that veranda bit an exact metre. No, sorry, an exact 3 feet. I'm a thick get. 3 feet exactly, 36 inches of an overhang, and that is going to be used for storing some of this chopped wood that they're going to be using in there. But she's actually having a wood burning stove put in herself. What's your cousin's name, mate? Carol. So Carol's going to actually have a little wood burning stove put in there herself. Men at work. But it's looking brilliant, isn't it? I'll risk going inside. Yeah, you're going to ground them off after, aren't you? He's going to ground them off later on. That's going to be reinforced. There's going to be another beam going underneath that, but that's just temporary. And that's for the central bit, you know, where the two join. That's 12mm polycarbonate, that. Oh, I think it's 15mm twin wall polycarbonate, that. That's from off an old gazebo or something that he got for free, got for nothing. All this wood, this is got old pallet wood, big long pallet wood, which I'll show you in a second, that we've used. That was an old billboard, or section of an old billboard, which was marine ply. That's been reused, repurposed and recycled. Like I said, that was the inside of the original shed, the side of the original shed. So it's just extended that way. That was a tank, a water tank, when it was a foundry, this. That was a water tank, and it sunk down about 2 or 3 feet underground, that. So we just covered it over. Because trying to dig that, cast iron out of that, you're wasting your time. Unless you've got 10 strong men. But he's using it as a bench feature. Just going to box it in, use it as a bench feature. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade, guys. Well, yeah, I think it's looking good. Once it's all sealed up and panelled on the inside, it'll be fantastic. It's already almost 8 feet longer than it was. 7 foot 4, I think it is, longer on that side. And he's raised it up a little bit, you know, so you've got a bit more headroom. Those are those airing cupboard shelves that I brought over. They'll make up the floor, but that's not going to be the floor. he's going to put more of these billboard here first. Over that, fully floored. Might even get Axminster A1 carpeting. Be brilliant, wouldn't it? I think that's where the little stove's going to go, you know, the wood burner, pointing out that way. It'll be really toasty and nice in here. I think you'll agree. I really like it. I think it's ace. Get the tea in. Yeah, really good. Another day's worth of work and it'll be spot on, that. Fit for a king or a queen. So these are going to be our planting location. So all I do is use my thumb and my fingers and move around like this into the area where the plantings are going to be occurring. What's occurring? What's occurring? Can't do Welsh, me. Always sounds like I'm in Indian or something, or just thick or something. So I'll just rough it up like that, using the thumb and fingers, and then get the bone meal. Oh, it's a bit dried up, that. And give a dusting. And then the same with the bloodfish and bone. It's a small handful. Not even that. Half a handful of each. And then just work it in. Again. In the area. The planting area. These are the old roots, so I'm going to take those out. Not that it's going to be too detrimental. Probably won't be detrimental. But it gives the new plants a bit more elbow room. If there's nothing in the way. Look at that, baby. All that is. And massage it into the growing medium. Because we've took the old dry, useless crap off the top of it. It's not going to go to waste. So what we've got in those 2 buckets will be going into the compost, just to add to the bulk of the compost. And it'll rot down again and revitalise itself with the rest of the amendments that are in the compost and become new growing medium, new soil. And that's all I'm going to be doing. It's going to be doing that, working my way down the line until it's all done. Okay. So that soil has all been amended now, where I need it. No point putting it where you're not going to be growing stuff that needs that energy, needs that food at this stage. Just amend the soil, because at the back there, I'm not going to be growing anything there. So about 4 inches behind the stakes, or the canes, there's nutrition there. There's nutrition about 10 inches in front. The plant's going to be going there. So there's going to be nutrition there and there. And they're only shallow rooted anyway, you know. These cucumber plants, they don't have a massive root ball system. So, you know, a foot square of amendment is ideal. And that's the sort of trench then, all the way across there. It doesn't have to be any deeper than that either. So I'm not even going to bother to restack it with more compost and waste my compost, because I don't need to. It's got all the nutrition in there. Pretty good compost anyway as it stands at the moment. And it's going to be getting water fed and liquid feed in the form of the comfrey feed anyway as we go through the season. So now those are amended, all we do is, once I've cleaned all these obviously, at the side of where my plant's going to go, I'll put one of these buried about 6 inches down, or as far as it'll go down, with all the little holes poking out of it. And as I want to water it, as I need to water it, I just fill them up. So there'll be one. So 1, 2. There'll be like 2 basically either side of the plant, and the water will seep underground then, moisturise the soil around it, and that's where it'll be getting its water from. So you're not wasting water, you're not wasting feed, you're not wasting extra money on compost. That'll do the job. Trust me, I'm a guru. And it's worked for the last sort of, what, 4 years since we've been growing in here. We've been growing in here for 4 years, because that's when I built it 4 years ago. And it's worked. It's worked ever since then. That's all we'll be doing. It's not. You probably missed the science bit of that rocket science statement. But it's not. It doesn't have to be overly complicated. You'll get results from that when we plant them out. And we'll be showing that through the season as we progress through it. Alright guys. So another reason that I don't use a watering can or a hose pipe or anything in there when I'm watering them plants or feeding them plants, I use the in-ground plastic bottle watering system, is because you don't get the splashback. You can get like soil-borne pathogens and what have you that are resting on the soil surface, and when the water splashes up underneath the leaves, that's when you can get issues. You can get sort of like viral issues or mold issues or Christ knows what. Forgive me for my blasphemy, but you can. So what's the point? And it wastes water. If you're putting the water in the ground where the roots are, where the plant needs it, you're putting the water in the ground there, the plants will take up that moisture from the soil through the root system and go and feed the plant without the plant getting wet. And obviously if it does get damp and wet and stuff like that, when the sun does come through on it, it burns little holes in the leaves. It could cause all sorts of issues. It's just not worth doing. It's not the best way of doing it. The best way of doing it is the in-ground watering I've found, like that. And we'll show you that further on through the season. I think I'll clear this little pebble path, this pebble border in front of the tiki tunnel number 2. I'll clear that of the weeds, and I'll shift these as well, these paving slabs. Now, if I do say so myself, Tiki Tunnel 2 is looking absolutely pristine. Check it out. The frontage to the palace of glittering delights is looking magnificent as we enter through the gate into the palace itself. You'll see all is pristine. Yeah, and ready for planting up. Speaking of planting out, we're going to be planting out these babies, these baby brassicas, into the new homes. So let's go and check out the new home. So they come out of the nursery and now they're about to move into the allotments equivalent of the Palace of Versailles, boys and girls. This is my super duper, what is it, 16 foot by 16 foot brassica tent. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What a star I am. This is ace. This is fantastic for growing brassicas. These beds did fantastically well last year. Just standard vegetables being grown in them grew like they were bloody prize winners. They were like half as big again as everybody else's. Not that it was a competition, but everybody was going ooh and ah when they saw them. Or even boo. But no, they did fantastically well in here. So down that side we're going to be doing the broccolis and calabrese. Probably going to take us to about here. And then we're going to get the cauliflowers in. But what I am going to do, I think, is I am going to net this off. I'm going to net this section off and have a cage within a cage. So I'll need 6 more of these to do that. I've got the netting, but get 6 more of these 2x2s. And put another wall of netting across this way to about here. And I'll have this as the netted area, I think. And then all the rest of this will all be for the brassicas then, and then this bit will be for the beans and peas. We'll have the beans and peas from here around here. That's the plan. But the brassicas in here, the brassicas in there, the brassicas in here. I'll see how I go on with my plantings actually, to see whether I will actually do it this year, because I will need to get into this area potentially if I use up all my brassicas. So that means that'll be out of bounds. So I'll have to put another door on here to get in and tend to them and harvest them. But I'll see how I go. That's what I want to do really though. I want to sort of cage this bit off so that the butterflies and the pigeons can't get into this bit. Leave that door open, or put a chicken wire on it. Instead of it being that scaffolded bee netting, put chicken wire on it so that the pollinators can get into this bit but not into this bit. And pollinate my peas and beans down here. And then I can always re-net that if I want to convert it all into a brassica tent again. But that's what I was going to do. I'll put a wall in here and another door here to get into the actual brassica section, and then have this as the beans, the pulses section in this bit. Somebody's going to get seasick with all this spinning around, aren't they? One of you guys. I can't remember who said that, but I apologise. So that's what we're going to do. But first of all, we're going to prepare the beds for our brassica crops. That already had a lot of perlite in it last year, and so did this one. And what perlite does is it loosens the soil, and it aerates the soil as well, and allows for better drainage, so they're not sat in water. Because what we do get is club root on these plots. Everybody's got club root from some degree or another, and that forms the clubbing of the brassica roots, and they don't take up as much nutrition. Although we had it last year in here, and the cauliflower grew magnificently, even though it had the club roots. It still grew fantastically. But it can be an impediment to your growth, club root. They look like little Jerusalem artichokes underground on your roots. And it's a soil-borne pathogen that causes it, that swims about in the soil. And it likes it sort of swims through the water, the moisture, excess moisture. So if you've not got a free draining soil, it thrives. And it's an acid-loving pathogen. If you put the lime with it, which we've got there, the garden lime, when you do your plantings, again, that helps to retard the club root. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be putting a bit of garden lime in with every planting station that I do. But first of all, I've got to get the nutrition in. Now, the nutrition comes in the form of farmyard manure, which is that, organic chicken manure pellets, which is that, and fish blood and bone. So all those are going in. I don't tend to liquid feed my brassicas. I don't like the idea of it all splashing up on the leaves. I just put it in the ground first, get it in the soil, and then let nature work its course, Let nature do its thing, and let it feed from the root. Feed and water from the root. But yeah, that's what I like to do. Because when the brassicas are all in there and they're in full leaf, if you were going to be doing liquid feeding, you'd struggle with that really, because all the leaves would get covered in it, and it would struggle then to get down to the root itself. You can do it if we had in-ground irrigation systems and feed systems and things like that, but we haven't. Keep it simple, stupid, as they say. But yeah, let's get cracking. So, like I said, like I did before with the tomato beds and cucumber beds, I'm just putting my hands in and I'm just working the soil and loosening the soil a little bit so that the amendments can get deep down into the root system when we plant up the plants. So that's what I'm going to be doing now. That doesn't need any more perlite. These do. I'm going to put the perlite in there because that'll help. Because as I say, that will help with the club roots situation, and it'll give better drainage as well, which we want. Let's get cracking. Right. So that's been tilled down to about 8 inches. In with the hands, one. Back and forth, fisting it. Well, beg your pardon, but now it's going to get 6 double handfuls of that in it. Now that, if we say that this is, I don't know, what would you say, about 3 meters by a meter? So every metre is going to have 2 double handfuls of that worked into it, basically. So 6 double handfuls of the organic chicken manure is going to go in, along with about 12 handfuls of blood, fish and bone, and then it's going to be worked in as before we did in the polytunnel, all along there. They're a really strong nitrogen loving plant, the brassica, so they need a lot of nitrogen. Chicken manure's got a lot of nitrogen in it. The blood, fish and bone's got a good combination, because obviously it needs its minerals as well, its vitamins and minerals, etc. And blood, fish and bone is a good mix for that. But yeah, the nitrogen's going to be good for the leaf growth, and then the bone meal that's in the chicken manure is going to be good for its root development. Good strong roots, good strong plants. It's worked for us for the last 6 years. Trust me, I'm a guru. And then it's going to get a top dressing with that. So that as the season goes along, that we'll give it micro doses washing down into the soil. The rain will go through the farmyard manure and wash down to the roots and continually feed it. It should get a really good continuous feed over the say 10 weeks when it's growing, 10 to 12 weeks as it grows to full maturity. And we shall be eating broccoli by June, beginning of July, something like that. Chicken manure pellets with the addition of blood, fish and bone meal, and that's got to be now worked in. So you get your hands deep into the soil and give it a good working through. Get it deep down into the soil. Yeah, give it a good thorough work through. There we go. All the nutrition worked into the soil. The fertilizer. Now, because we're all good sports, I'm a good sport. Because we're all good sports, we like an even playing field, a nice flat even playing field. And to get that, I'll show you a daft trick that I do. So what you do is you take a brush. Hope you can see all right there. And you brush it. A nice, even, steady brush. And you brush it flat. And it works. A good stiff yard brush like this works, boys and girls. Fills in any divots and evens out any peaks. I remember I did this as a hugel culture bed. And what that means is I filled it all up at the bottom. Before I filled it with the compost and soil, I filled it up with broken twigs and branches. And again, that assists with the drainage. But it also rots down over time, and it saves you money on the compost, because you're bulking up your bed with scrap wood, basically. And when I was aerating it then and doing the tilthing, I was pulling little bits of branches up, because it's only been in a year, this, but yeah, it started to rot down. It's all started to rot down. I hope you saw that okay, because it was on a bit of a downward angle, but we'll see. Hopefully you did. I just checked it, and you did. Now this bed, as I was going through it, doing the hand tilling, it felt heavy, quite a bit heavier than that one, so it needed lightening up. So I've added the perlite in, probably about 6 handfuls of perlite I've added into that, and I want to work that in, and that should get down and help to lighten the soil a touch. So I'll crack on with that. Now this one is heavy, claggy soil, so it's getting a good dose of the perlite, this one. Probably about a quarter of a bucket going into that, and that's, again, it's going to be worked in with the usual amendments. But yeah, that's getting quite a bit of perlite, that, to loosen it up, because that one didn't have any perlite in it last year. What it did have is our homemade compost out of those bins. We emptied those bins for these 2 beds and filled them up, but it was obviously a little bit heavy because it was all like kitchen waste matter and weeds and stuff like that, which had rotted down, but it did need aeration, and now it's getting the aeration. But like I say, last year we had cracking results, really good cauliflowers. Hi guys, well, I've prepared those 3 beds anyway. I've not had a chance to plant anything in them though. I'm going to leave it till the weekend. Reason being, I had to get off. I had to get away. It was I didn't realise what time it was. It was 5:30, and I was late. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you like what we're doing, please comment, like and subscribe, and don't miss another exciting episode down here on the Little Farmer's Farm with me, Gouda Mafinda, and chums like Magical Michael and the Wise Old Elf. On the weekend, we're going to be planting in all those brassicas, and we're also going to be completing the tidying up and preparing in the greenhouse, the Lady Farmer's greenhouse, and tiki tunnel number 1, which is the big tiki tunnel. Going to do a full weeding. Everything's going to be absolutely tip top by the end of play on Sunday. So another big weekend. I'm back at work tomorrow, back in sunny Bury, and I believe it is going to be sunny in Bury this week, if you believe the weather forecast, the British Meteorological Office, which I did today. That's why I planned like indoors work today, but unfortunately they got it wrong. He said it was going to be strong winds today. It's been very, very still and sunny. Well, it was a good thing, I suppose, isn't it? So yeah, the rest of the week's going to be quite nice around here in the good, glorious northwest of England, and hopefully it remains that way on the weekend. Take care of yourselves and each other. If I don't see you through the week, I'll see you through the window. This has been Gouda Mafinda. You've been beautiful, fantastic and fragrant if you're a lady, and if you're a gentleman, you've been forthright, virile and masculine. I hope you've enjoyed this week on the allotment. I have. I know it's not been a full week because I was poorly sick and in bed for 2 of those days, but managed to get quite a bit done, quite a bit of clearing. We're all set now, more or less. After this weekend, we'll all be set, and the big push forward. I'll get all the onions out, the potatoes out, and all the lot this weekend. Everything's prepared now, so I'll catch you then. All right, have a great week, boys and girls. Take care. See you later. Bye bye. Peace, love and namaste. Gouda out.